special curves. It's not a nice thing. So you have to be careful. You should never look at them. You have to do some prayashita. It's like that. So, yes, Ganapati is a very great devotee. That is described in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. There's a whole special chapter. People don't know there's another appearance of Ganesh, which appeared by the mercy of Krishna. And then it's not like usually what we know the story of his appearance that was created by Parvati guarding her quarters, and then Shiva came and chopped his head off and so forth. It's a different story. When he was born, he appeared, because every kalpa there is a different little bit appearance. It's not all the same. That's why Puranas give different accounts. So when Shani came and Shani was not looking, then Parvati said, no, but please look at my child. And then, but how can I do that? Shani, anybody who Shani looks at, that's going to be a problem. So he looked at Ganesh, and that's how Ganesh lost the head. That's a different story. So then, by Krishna's mercy, then other things happen. So that's it's a little longer story, but it's described in Brahma Vaivarta. Different pastimes. Not many, quite some number of pastimes. But one of the most important is that Ganapati gave us Bhagavad Gita. He wrote down Mahabharata, which Bhagavad Gita is the main part of it. And we know that initially Vyasadeva was looking for somebody to put Mahabharata down. It's not an easy task. It said it took 3 years to write Mahabharata. Not an easy task. And then even petitioned to Lord Brahma, and then Brahma said, okay, I know who will be capable, who is capable of doing so. So that was Ganapati. So Ganapati agreed, saying that, yes, if I fully understand what is spoken, then I will know it. Only under that condition. And that's why there are some certain verses in Mahabharata that are highly philosophical, very deep. So it took Ganapati some time to understand it. Then he noted it down. So that means that Ganapati fully understood Bhagavad Gita, otherwise he wouldn't note it down. And in Bhagavad Gita it is said that we should worship whom? Krishna, yes. And not worship any other demigods, devatas. So that's why we have to be very grateful to Ganapati for giving us this literature, this essence of all the Vedic knowledge. Okay, so let's focus. What is this essence? That's why we're today discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the essence of all the Shastras. Kalito Phalam, it's the essence, it's the phalm, pure nectareous phalm. And we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 26, King Puranjana goes to forest hunting. Today, text 23. Okay. So, can anyone recollect anything from the last discussion? Anyone was present? No? That's a difficult question, always. Yes?
When a guru chastises his disciple, so the disciple should take it as a mercy and not get angry, and should not make any excuses.
Okay, we discussed chastisement. Correction, we all need correction. If we think that we don't need correction, but then why are we not, then perfectly accomplishing everything we want to accomplish in this world? That means we are not perfect. Very simple. So we need correction, we need improvement, no? We need guidance. Otherwise, what is the point of approaching Guru? Like Arjuna, if Arjuna, we know he was absolutely exemplary personality. He was just, he's not an ordinary man, right? He was an emperor of the world. Of course, actually, he was a devata. He's not an ordinary human being. And even he had so many difficulties, so many problems. And he couldn't resolve them. And then at the end, what he did? Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prabham. What did he do? He surrendered to Krishna. He said, I become your disciple. Please instruct. So if we are so perfected, then why don't we resolve our problems and difficulties in life? So that's obviously not happening. We don't have that capacity. So that's why we need some guidance, we need correction. We need to receive certain instructions which will benefit us in life. So that's why we discussed that Guru is there to chastise. Guru is not to flatter us how great and wonderful we are. That's not Guru. Guru is there to find, his duty is to find the fault and to correct that fault. Otherwise there's no point of having Guru. Okay, any other points discussed last time? Something else? How many of you are, somebody's here for the first time? Huh? It's presentation. Okay. Oh. So it might be a little bit difficult to understand what is going on here. There's one particular allegory described about one king who was overly self-centered, and it was difficult to teach him something. Just imagine somebody in a very high position, and you try to correct him, saying, no, it should be done like this. They will never accept. They will never listen. Who is somebody to, correct them? Huh? So then the Narad Muni was a great sage and understood that. Because people in a big position generally have very big ego also. Not easily instructable, not easy to give them some guidance and correction. So then Narad Muni started telling him a story, my dear king. So there was another king who did like this and was performing certain other activities, but actually he was talking about himself. He was talking to the king about some other kind of king, but actually it was the same story of the king's life. And then he's telling him this allegorical story, how this king underwent so many troubles and tribulations. Ganga should never be placed on the floor, it's valor, it's big offense. So this is the story now, and different kind of environment, and the body represents different kind of enjoying propensities. And due to that enjoyment, we commit a lot of sinful activities, and therefore we suffer. We suffer because of ignorance. So Narad Muni is instructing the king how one should act in the life, that one doesn't have to undergo all this suffering. Okay, so let's read today's text. It's a little bit more particular because now king has the queen, of course. What kind of king is there that doesn't have a queen? So then he's engrossed in his own different kinds of activities that apparently make him happy, and he's neglecting the queen. But the queen in this allegorical story represents intelligence, good guidance, good consciousness. So that's what we do when we're engrossed in sinful life. We neglect our own consciousness, neglect ourselves, and that's not intelligent at all. We think we will gain something from some sinful activity, but then actually we receive the reactions from it. So this is now going on. What happens when one neglects his consciousness, neglects his good intelligence? And that good intelligence definitely has all reasons to become angry at us. We become upset for why we are wasting our lives. Why are we indulging in things that are not making us happy, that are making us waste? Every moment is so valuable. Janakya Pandit said, there is no amount of wealth that you can purchase a single minute. And every single Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Udayanstam Chaya Asau Tasyat Kshanamita Uttama Shlokivarta. Srimad Bhagavatam said, by every rising and setting of the sun, one is decreasing his duration of life. every rising and setting of the sun. Are we conscious of that? No, we are not conscious of it. We are so foolish that we don't understand that as soon as you took birth, you could be, in the West usually, I don't know if here you get a birth certificate or something. You should better be given also death certificate. Because for one, for one who has taken his birth, the death is sure. But for one who is dying, again, birth is sure. Cycle of repetition of birth and death. So it's already predestined when you're going to leave your body. And you just have a very limited, you might be thinking I have a lot of time, but that's your illusion, that's your ignorance. You have very limited amount of time. And now the only question of human existence is, how are you going to utilize that time? What are you going to do? Are you going to be like Puranjana? Going to forest, hunting, having fun, neglecting your real self, spiritual self? Or are we going to utilize this time and understand what is our real position and how to get out of this clutches of material suffering? So what are we going to do? It would be nice actually, like sometimes you must have seen those sand clocks. So the sand clocks, the sand, and the sand is pouring out into the lower portion from the upper one, and then they twist it, and then again. So our time is like this, it's just pouring down. And we actually have no idea how much is left. I've seen so many young people living their body, I know so many young people living their bodies. And we just don't know, we may think, yes, I believe. Well, how much you can live? How much? What do you think? How long you will live? Anybody can say? Huh? Can you say, what do you think you may be living up to? How many years? Who wants to live which amount of time? Raise your hand, let me know. Just guess. How much you want to live? How much would you think that you will be living? Yes, I agree.
67.
No, to give me some number.
17.
17. 70. Okay, you want to go up to 70. Okay, anybody else? Huh? 92. Okay. Anybody else? Yes?
100 years.
100. Okay. Anybody else? Think about it a little bit. How long? Well, what's your perception of your duration of life? Yes?
73.
73. Okay. I approximately know because I've consulted someone. I approximately know when it's going to be the final hour. Yes?
65.
65. Anybody else? 60. 60 also. Yes? 80. So many more years of suffering, my God. You really want to go through it over and over again. Anyway, we have our own conceptions, but we have no idea. Unless you really have gone to some good Jyotish, and he might tell you that approximately that's when your shani is somewhere or this and that, most likely, that's gonna be end of it. But we all have certain, days, but we have no idea. Maybe tomorrow, maybe today. We have no idea. We just cannot speculate like this. No. So that's why it is advised that when one is about or should practice or is practicing spiritual life, he should practice it in such a way that this day is his last day. That every day is his last day. So what would you do if this would be your last day? What would you do? You go out and get drunk or find some girl or something. What would you do if this would be your last day? So spiritual person lives every day as if it is his last day. Because we don't know what it takes to become perfect. We are so attached, we still have so much. Today I spoke to my mother. It's funny. Anyway. And I spoke to her some days before, so there's some things going on. So then she told me, it's like a little funny, she said, oh, I just have few material desires. Just few, yeah, it's always just few. And one is sufficient to take you into another body, that's all. Even one material body, one material desire means you will have another material body. Because if you have desire to fulfill that, then you will have to have facility to fulfill it. That means you don't have to go back to Krishna, you have to have something material, So, not a good idea, not a good idea. We should we should replace material desires with spiritual desires. And that's why every day that it's left to us, we should use it for Krishna. Otherwise it will entangle us. And again, then if you'll have so many desires, then you'll have so many material bodies. And then come again, back, suffer again, go to school, get some job, struggle with your wife, struggle with so many things, struggle again. And then again, same story, and then again, same thing, over and over, just a little bit different flavors, same thing over again. So that's why we don't know how much time we have. Time is extremely precious, you can't. So time decreases duration of life for everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttama Shloka. That's a name for Krishna. So except one who does that. So we have to utilize the time. We don't know. And just imagine if just there is maybe a little bit required that we perfect to some extent our consciousness and get another opportunity to really become relieved from these material bodies. And then we just didn't do that. Then you have to enter another material body. You have to enter into another family and start things over again, over and over and over. It's not a good idea. So we should be very, very conscious how we utilize the time. We should not waste the time, because you won't get it back. Chanakya Pandit said you can't purchase it by any amount of wealth. This time, it's gone, it's finished. There is no more present. Now everything pretty much is past. It's gone. And your credit is gone. You can't get it back. You can't receive it back. You can't go back to anything that had happened. And you can't do anything about it. It's finished. So that's why one has to be educated spiritually, and one has to know what is the proper course of action, so that one doesn't have to undergo, again, repeated birth and death. That's what spiritual life teaches us. It teaches us how to be responsible, again, mostly with how do we utilize our time. We don't know, again, how much do we have it. We don't know how much it is left. So that's why this is what Narad Muni is talking to this king who thinks that, like every king, just imagine how much opulence and facilities for enjoyment one might be having. But any moment, all of this can just be taken away. Any moment, any moment. You see so many kings come and go. Come and go. And everybody is left disappointed at the end. Because even if you had something, you can't have it again. If you expend your punya, then it's finished. You can't have it back. You can't claim again the same thing. Let's say you have a nice meal, can you have it again? You can't have it, it's finished. And you have to pay for another one. You have to pay for another one, even if you want to have it. If you can have it. Okay, so let's see today what King Puranjana is talking to his wife, his queen, which we said represents her intelligence. Sattvam mukham sudati subhriv anuraga bhara vrita vilamba vilasad Hasita Valokam Nila Lakabhi Upa Skritam Nasamnaha Svanam Pradarshya Manasvini Bhagavyam. Okay, translation and report by His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My dear wife, your teeth are very beautifully set, and your attractive features make you appear very thoughtful. Kindly give up your anger. Be merciful upon me, and please smile upon me with loving attachment. When I see a smile on your beautiful face, and when I see your hair, which is as beautiful as the color blue, and see your raised nose and hear your sweet talk, you will become more beautiful to me and thus attract me and oblige me. You're my most respected mistress. Okay, so what does that mean? So Prabhupada explains. An effeminate husband, simply being attracted by the external beauty of his wife, tries to become her most obedient servant. Sripad Shankaracharya has therefore advised that we do not become attracted by a lump of flesh and blood. The story is told that one time a man, very much attracted to a beautiful woman, wooed the woman in such a way that she devised a plan to show him the ingredients of her beauty. The woman made a date to see him, and before seeing him she took a purgative, and that whole day and night she simply passed stool, and she preserved that stool in a pot. The next night, when the man came to see her, she appeared very ugly and emaciated. When the man inquired from her about the woman with whom he had an engagement, she replied, "I am that very woman." The man refused to believe her, not knowing that she had lost all her beauty due to the violent purgative that caused her to pass stool day and night. When the man began to argue with her, the woman said that she was not looking beautiful because she was separated from the ingredients of her beauty. When the man asked how she could be so separated, the woman said, "Come on and I will show you." She then showed him the pot filled with liquid stool and vomit. Thus the man became aware that a beautiful woman is simply a lump of matter composed of blood, stool, urine, and similar other disgusting ingredients. This is the actual fact, but in a state of illusion, the man becomes attracted by illusory beauty and becomes a victim of Maya. King Puranjana begged his queen to return to her original beauty. He tried to revive her just as a living entity tries to revive his original consciousness, Krishna consciousness, which is very beautiful. All the beautiful features of the queen could be compared to the beautiful features of Krishna consciousness. When one returns to his original Krishna consciousness, he actually becomes steady and his life becomes successful. Om Jnana Timiram Dasya Vyanjana Shlaka Chakshamitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Visheshna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shri Guru. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Originally, we are just by our nature, that's our swarupa, attracted to spiritual life. Why we are not attracted to spiritual life now? Can anyone guess why this is not the case? That's our natural inherent position, something that is just very natural. But then if something is very natural, why we don't find it right now? Why this is not the case? Huh? Can you guess? Can you give me some reason? Why is this so? Think, yes.
By living in the material world for so many years, we have forgotten.
Okay, it's kind of habit that we are separated from our inherent consciousness, and that's why we completely forgot about that consciousness. Maybe, yes. Any other thoughts? Why we are not attracted to the original state that we really belong? Huh? Why is that? Yes. Because we are too much attached to material. Okay, but how did we become attached to too much to material? Huh?
What is that?
Wow. Why the desire? Where did that come from? What is the cause for it? How can you, let's say you have something, you have some essence, you have some substance, and then you become attracted to the shadow, something that doesn't have a substance. But then how is this so? How does that happen? How did that go? Propensity to lord it over, to control material nature, to exploit material nature. Maybe? Okay. So then what happens? We give one simple example. We give many examples, but I guess one should be sufficient. Every magnet, right, attracts iron fillings, no? No? There's an attraction. But if a magnet becomes rusty or covered by some layer of whatever, does it attract the iron fillings? No. So what has to be done? This magnet has to be purified, no? All the elements or layers that are unnecessary have to be removed. So this is what happens. Like, very simple, another analogy. Our original consciousness, it's a pure consciousness, just like a drop of water, right, from the cloud. But when it comes with a touch, in a touch with the material soil, it becomes muddied, right? It becomes contaminated. So it has to become filtered again. So that's the point. We become, what is that word, pradushit, contaminated, right? When we come to this material world, we become contaminated. We become contaminated by that false sense of lording or exploiting this material energy. And we develop lust, that we want to enjoy this material energy. And what is the most attractive form of the material energy? It's the woman, and the man for a woman, just the opposite, same thing. So that's lust. And then we become greedy, right? There's more greed because it's unsatiable. It doesn't satisfy the real self. So then we want more and more. And then we do so many. And then when we don't get, then there is anger. And there is illusion. And there is a madness. Yeah? So all these different anarthas appear and they cover our real self. And then we forgot our real original identity. And then we exploit this material world. And like this King Puranjana, he goes and hunts. He goes and he's looking for fun. He's looking for an adventure. He's going and doing so many things, and he's killing left and right. He's just slaughtering the animals, and he thinks I'm having fun. He thinks I'm having fun, but he doesn't understand that whatever he does to someone else will also do to him. That's the law of material nature. We don't understand that however we are exploiting others, the others will exploit us. However we cheat others, however we lie to others, whatever we do, we will all receive this back. Sometimes even in a multiplied ways. Depends on certain activities at certain time to particular persons. It's not all the same. It can be worse. So that's what we have to be very, very conscious, that we don't get involved in something like this because we will receive the reactions. And for that reason, when we are involved in so many various kinds of ways to exploit this material energy, or exploit different living beings who are covered also by the material energy, and what happens, we forget our original Krishna consciousness. We forget our original position, and then we struggle here. You struggle to establish certain business. You struggle to maintain your family. You struggle. Everything is a struggle. Everything in this world is a struggle. And even if you gain something again, then you struggle. You struggle to maintain that. You struggle that somebody else doesn't cheat you, doesn't take this away. Doesn't take your wife away, and doesn't this and that. So many fears, so many anxieties, so much struggle. Everything is struggle. The whole material world is a struggle. And why we are struggling? Because we are so foolish. We forgot our original position. We forgot our eternal identity. And we are just, competing for something that is temporary, that has temporary nature in this material existence. Because we have no knowledge. We're so covered. We're so ignorant. So then what spiritual life does, it removes that ignorance. It removes that covering. It removes that illusion that we are presently in, thinking that this is what is going to make us happy. So sometimes to remove that illusion, then what has to be done? Then some strong words have to be spoken. Some strong words, something that will wake us up. Something that will just kind of not just pierce us, and just really knock us up on the head, and make us really start thinking, what are you doing in this material world? Why are you wasting time? Like we said in the beginning. To do something useful. Do something to realize your original position. Don't be busy just trying to acquire some illusory, temporary assets, whatever it might be, because it's useless. Even if you gain anything, you won't be able to dress or satisfy your real self, wanting, and all of those things, again, because they are temporary, they will go. You can't hold upon them. You can't claim them, no matter what that might be. Isn't that, just imagine, you work hard. Let's say for 1 month, you work really hard. And somebody gives you your salary, whatever it might be, but it gives you, let's just imagine, it's an analogy kind of. It gives you one note, certain note which has the value of your salary, but you can't really utilize that note. There's something wrong with that note. Like sometimes, they don't accept the notes which are somewhat a little bit torn apart or something like this. So you get something in exchange for your valuable work, but you can't utilize that. How would you feel? That means you've wasted your whole month of hard work. Sometimes that happens. I remember when this internet was coming first to India. That was late 90s, beginning of 2000, something this and that. You had these cafe bars, and I don't know how they call them, cyber cafes and this and that. No, I just remember sometimes there was so much frustration. You would write a letter, and just you were about to send, and then electricity is gone, and the whole connection is finished. And I don't know when you were born or something. It was like when, there was so much frustration. And you really couldn't work things out. And sometimes softwares earlier, there was such a headache. So many things would crash down and this and that. This has improved nowadays a little bit, but sometimes still it does happen. Now sometimes your hard disk crashes still. Some similar things do keep on happening. So just imagine you do invest your time and energy in something, and you can't claim it. It's all gone. It's finished. You can't have it back. So life, it's also like this. But it is exactly like this because you can't claim and you can't have anything. Again, with the time, all gone. Just finish. You can't have it back. So that's why we have to have a proper consciousness to understand, if I'm doing something now, but let me do something that's on an eternal basis. Something that doesn't get lost, something that it's not erased, something that I can claim it always. And what is that? That's only on the spiritual basis, not on the material basis. And therefore, why should I get distracted with so many so-called funs? What is fun? Go for a party. What is fun? Like nowadays, Ganapati festival is going on. Why do people go out? I just hear some. There's no bhajan or something. There's all some Bollywood stuff going on. Just get drunk and dance on the rain and hold some girl, inappropriately and this and that, and that's fun. I said, what does this have to do with Ganapati? Where's the consciousness? Where is what? It's complete nonsense going on. And we think, okay, we got some fun. I got drunk, and then I get, some hangover a little bit. Oh, it was a fun, at least, something a little different than boring life where I have to work day in and day out. And then your time is gone. It's finished. You've missed your chance. You missed your opportunity. And then you have to take birth again. And who knows where, based upon certain activities you perform and stuff. So we should be conscious. That's what spiritual life is. It's trying to make us conscious. And you see here, that what is that consciousness? That's that consciousness of spiritual life. It's the most beautiful. It's the most attractive. It's the most wonderful. It's something that we are really looking for, but we are missing it out. We are missing it out. And we are so foolish because the real essence, the real purpose, everything we are looking for, we are missing that out. And we are just chasing something that's ephemeral, something that's like some kind of smoke, some kind of mist, some kind of illusion like this. We are wasting time doing this, having this fun, going to that party, having that relationship, this, that, and we are never satisfied. At least by understanding that we are never satisfied, we should understand something's wrong. No? Can we have a little bit of that intelligence to understand? I'm doing this, I'm having, so many girls, so many times this, and still I'm not happy. I remember when there was that episode with Will Smith or something. He said, I had sex so many times in my life, and it never made me happy. So, but then we should start a little bit thinking. Hopefully we should have some brain. But that's the whole point. If you have sex so many times, you don't have any brain left to think. That's the problem. That's the problem. But hopefully maybe we should have some brain left and some intelligence and to understand, if I do so many things in life, but then why am I not still happy? Why still I have to undergo so much suffering? Why still I have to undergo so much miseries? Why am I forced to do this? Why am I forced to get disease? Why am I forced? Why? And we should start asking some questions. And then when we start asking some questions, then maybe we can start getting some answers and then acting upon them and then change something in our life. Do something different based on guidance of scriptures, not speculating. So that's what life is meant for. And that's really what is described here. That the most beautiful, see now the king is describing his queen. Your teeth are beautiful, your attractive features, your smile, it's like a loving attachment, beautiful face, hair, it's like color blue, raised nose, this, that. Why he left it? Why did he left her, his queen? If she's so attractive and beautiful, why did he left her? Because he was intoxicated, So then that's the point. Why do we leave spiritual world? Why do we leave everything that is so wonderful, so attractive, so beautiful? Why did we leave our original Krishna consciousness? Because we get intoxicated. We get intoxicated by an illusion. Because that illusion makes us think this is better, easily obtainable, or whatever. But it's not. And that's why we come here and then we struggle and suffer and waste our lives. Not just time, but our lives. Not just some time, but lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So then finally, by the mercy of spiritual master, it said here, like that king, he came to his senses and then he returned to that original beauty, the original attraction. So that's what happens when we try to revive our original Krishna consciousness. When we come to some senses, we get some good intelligence back. So that's why we should not waste time. Because what is the use of so-called material beauty? This is this liquid beauty story. Liquid beauty story. What is beautiful? What is beautiful about material body? What is beautiful about material body? You don't bathe it for one day to see how beautiful it is, attractive. What has been more than no. What is beautiful about material body? It's such an illusion. And we are so foolish that we get attracted to some other material body like this. So foolish. And we miss the substance, you see. So when we're going to wake up, when we're going to realize the nature of this material existence and flaws of this material existence, that's what spiritual life means. So getting from that shadow to the substance, that's the purpose of spiritual life. And then you're happy and satisfied and satiated. This is what spiritual life is offering to us. And that's what we've been always looking for. Okay, we'll stop here. 2 more minutes. Any questions or comments? Yes. क्या होते? चेतना क्या होते? That's the question. Huh? What happens by consciousness? Or what is consciousness? How do you translate it? Parikshit, what are you doing? Translate Baba.
He's asking what does consciousness mean?
What does consciousness mean? Consciousness means awareness. If I pinch you, you will feel it. No? You know that you exist. You're aware of yourself. That is consciousness. Like plants. Plants don't have much consciousness. Animals have a little more consciousness, but humans have more consciousness. So there are different levels of consciousness, of existence. Or you may be conscious of yourself, you may be conscious of environment, you may be conscious about other people. So there are different grades and depths of consciousness. The more conscious, more you're actually closer to your original state of existence as a spirit soul. Is that okay?
And he has one more question. He is asking what is a soul? What is soul?
What is soul? Soul is anti-material element. It's not made of matter. And its qualities are eternity, knowledge or cognizance, and ananda, bliss. That it's different from the body. Body, it's achit, asat, nirananda. So it's completely opposite. So that's why we are not happy. As long as you're in this body trying to look for happiness, then you'll be happy. Because soul is in the wrong element. Okay, any other question in regards to what we discussed? Yes.
So, Prabhuji, what should we do by thinking it's our last day?
What should we do? Well, we should utilize time. We should not waste our time. How much time are we wasting? How many movies we are watching? How many ridiculous things are we reading on internet? How many things? Why we are wasting time? Instead of educating ourselves about ourselves, gaining some spiritual knowledge, doing some devotional service. We are serving our tongue, belly, and genitals. We are ready to do so many things. That's a waste of time. You try to satisfy the body, but you cannot satisfy it. What is that matter? So we should not waste time. We should try to satisfy our soul. That's a really utility time. Okay? Okay, anyway, if you have some other questions, we'll discuss. So we'll end here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.